All right, here we go. Corey in South Carolina. Corey, you're live with Eric and Dave. What would you like to talk about today?
Hey, Eric. Hey, Dave.
Hey,
Hello.
Corey.
Again from Sunday, last Sunday.
Rock on. What did you want to talk about?
Basically, I just looked at some things that give y'all more credibility. I did do some research, and one thing I dig in deeper is when you told me basically like to look at, don't nitpick my scenarios, you know? And I looked at it, and I looked at like stories like car accidents and stuff like that. And I thought about what you said, and that can apply for everything. So I got to concede on that one.
Okay. I'm a little bit confused, but I'm going to need to go back and listen. Did you want to talk about that today, or did you have something else you wanted to bring up?
I have some other things. I was just giving you some credibility because I am looking at some stuff, and I'm saying, like, people need to pay attention. It's like, seriously, y'all doing a good job.
And this is coming from a theist. We're still on opposite sides of things. Cheers, man. We can't reach across that.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So
I applaud your open mind, Corey. That's a thing we all have to have, is an open mind. So good for you.
Well, not too open though. Otherwise your brain might fall out. But
yeah,
just
I've heard
enough,
that.
right?
I've heard that.
So Corey, what do you want to talk about?
Basically, I just wanted to know was like, what are some good things and what are some good ways that Christians and atheists can get along together that won't take away their faith or basically make it to where everybody can live together in harmony? Because I'm seeing a bunch of negative reaction from both sides.
Absolutely. In fact, I was watching the live chat of a different YouTube channel that had a lot of non-religious people who were saying, oh, all atheists, all they do is dive in and just, you know, are really mean and cruel and call names. And I see the same the other way around. And, you know, a couple things. Number one, I would say, Corey, don't worry about protecting your faith from ideas. Because if your faith is contingent on not learning more information that might make you doubt it, that's a problem. But there are a lot of things that we can do together that are secular being not religious, right? So if we're building community, if we're volunteering, if we're just helping each other, I mean, those are all things that are not owned by the church that many of us would be very happy to do. So I would definitely look into that. And I think that really the place where it overreaches, the place that inspires us to do what we do, is we live in a country where there's a lot of religious overreach. People who want to. Oh, Dave, go ahead. I'm kind of.
No, I was just going to say that. I didn't mean to jump in on you. I was I was agreeing with you, but it's the overreach. It's when Christians want to impose their ideas on everyone and make everyone behave as a Christian. And I have friends, I don't know if you, Eric, but I have friends that are Christians.
Sure.
And we get along just fine because I'm not trying to impose my ideas on them. I'm not trying to dictate how they should live or think, and they're not trying to do that to me. So the problem I have is when Christians, and evangelicals are the worst about this, because by and large, they are trying to evangelize. That's where the word comes from. They are trying to change people's minds. And so they feel like in this country, we have a big problem with that, because they feel like this should be a Christian country, and they have a mandate from God to make everyone believe like they do. And then they start restricting the rights of those who don't believe like they do. And a great example, like you said, we have commonality. We're all humans. And when we can connect on that human level, then we get along just fine and we help each other. And a good example of that is during the coronavirus pandemic in New York City, when Samaritan's Purse went in and set up medical facilities. You know, that's the Franklin Graham organization. And they were there to help take care of sick people. but they were also imposing conditions on that, and you had to sign a statement of belief that basically discriminates against gays, discriminates against people that don't think like they do. That's when it becomes a problem. And so, to answer Corey's question very directly, we can get along on the human level. Let's just quit trying to impose our beliefs on one another.
And
Can you
go ahead.
Can you give me an example from like each one of you about a certain time where it really hurt you? Because I know, like, if y'all leave a church, it's going to affect y'all some way or another.
It's not just personal. I mean, I lived in California, and Prop 8 made it illegal for same-sex marriage to be a thing that could happen.
Right.
That's not just me. That's people using their religious viewpoints to dictate what other people can or can't do. It is making it law.
Right. And that's the same with me. It's not about how it affects me personally, although I have had negative repercussions from my lack of faith in my own family, them disowning me, essentially, parts of them. But I, like Eric said, I have a lesbian couple of friends in Nashville that are very concerned about the current administration and what they might do in terms of legalizing marriage or making it illegal again. And that would affect them in ways that are very dramatic. And it's not about what I need or want. It's about those who may be more marginalized than me.
Absolutely. And it's not just Christians. It's not like we just have this, we just don't have it out for Christians.
Right. No.
Look at Sharia law. When you have your religion being the thing that dictates your government, it can be really bad. And I think that the more fundamentalist, the more extreme people try and force their views on everyone else, the more you're going to see just how much it sets us back. I have in the comments that you wanted to talk about morality, though. Right?
Yeah. Basically, it was just giving you credit to certain stuff. I was going to talk about like the credibility of certain stuff that I found. I did the research, and the only argument all the arguments that y'all make, I watch y'all show. The only ones I can see is I have to bring credibility through the Bible. Any other one just seems irrational to me.
So just so I'm clear, so I'm making sure that we're all on the same page. You're referring to last week's call when you said that answer to prayer is evidence of God, right? Isn't that what you said? Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just horribly wrong on that because I know there's like, I didn't think about it until you was like nitpicking about like certain events. And I thought about like, okay, if my sister, like I watched a video of somebody that got cancer, and I was just like, okay, like if they pray, like I believe in stuff and I believe prayer works, but it's just that type of feeling,
Yeah, well, if it works every time, then that God is an asshole. Because that means that God is actively choosing to keep people in pain and suffering and dying. But if it doesn't work every time, then we definitely have evidence to support that. But I don't know if there's anything else. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask about?
Like I know there's some laws that as Christians we're trying to do is like one is like school, getting religion in school. What's y'all's thought about that?
Well, I think that if you want to teach, well, so the thing is I loved learning about Greek and Roman mythology. I loved learning about Zeus and Heracles and all the different stories that happen throughout there. I loved learning about Norse mythology. I think that if we're learning about holy books and mythology, it should be in that context. But if you want to teach it as truth, then you're opening up a door that I don't know if you want to open. I mean, would you want other religions telling your children that their religion was true?
No, because I know other countries are persecuting people
Right.
Well,
for believing in certain stuff.
absolutely. And I mean, there are stories now of how some of those things negatively impact people. And it's not just atheists. I mean, we had a Jehovah's Witness call in last week. And I remember talking to a Jehovah's Witness who, in school, right around Christmas time, the kids were all practicing for a play, and they needed to sit out because their parents wouldn't let them, obviously, participate. That said, all of the kids got to see who the weird one was, and that child got picked on because of it. When you single children out and make them the other, you are you're putting them in a place where they're going to be picked on. And I think that's atrocious. So why, as a Christian, do you think that's a good idea?
I mean, I don't personally.
Okay.
It's like I literally watched a video of them putting up a statue that was religious, and then we had, I don't know what it was, but they had a Ten Commandments statue put up at the White House.
Mm-hmm.
And basically there was another statue, and basically they didn't agree with one of them. And the argument was, well, if one statue should be up, the other one should.
If you want to be fair, right?
Yeah.
So
there you go.
That's the problem. If you want religion in schools, and the people that typically want religion in schools in this country are saying they want the Christian religion. In other words, their religion. And it's another example of Christians trying to impose their beliefs on others. And their argument is that they say that this is a Christian nation. Well, it's actually not. But so what that amounts to is when they are wanting the Bible read or prayers to the Christian God before football games or whatever, then by definition, they're going to leave out every other child who doesn't share in that particular brand of religion, the Muslims, the Jews, Hindus, whatever, non-religious. And so they're the ones that have to be, they're going to be ostracized. Like Eric said, everyone's going to know who the weird kid is, who the one that doesn't fit in. He's the oddball. She's the oddball. That's not fair to them. They're paying, their parents are paying taxes for those schools just like the Christians are. That's what's unfair about it, and that's why the separation of church and state exists.
And that said, Corey, to be honest with you, I don't know about a lot of other atheists, but I'm getting sick and tired of of being the only group that's trying to make that happen. There are plenty of Christian organizations that are going, you know what, actually, that's fair, and are being a part of that. But why do we have to be the ones who are arguing for fairness and equity? Shouldn't you be doing that too? Mm-hmm. I mean, why are we looking out for other religions that we don't agree with either?
We don't believe in any religion, but we're still trying to look out for those who have other religious beliefs that would feel very offended by the Christian belief being imposed upon them. Eric's right.
Yeah, and not even just the Christian belief, a very specific Christian belief.
Exactly.
I'm sure there are plenty of Mormons who will attest that they are Christians, and plenty of Christians who will say that they are not. And it's just that way. That said, Corey, I'm really, really glad you looked into it. And if you have any other questions or anything like that, please feel free to call in, because it sounds like you do. Oh, go ahead.
I do got one other question. It's like, okay, how would you, I don't agree with like having one religion rule, because I do understand that. So how would I go about like helping people? Because I'm still a Christian and I still can't shape my beliefs. It's like, I can't, this for me, it's just, I just can't. I don't know why, I just can't.
Honestly, I had a conversation with someone on Discord last week who said the same thing. And, dude, I said the same thing at one point.
I was going to say I couldn't either until I could.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it takes time.
15 years ago, if you'd have told me I wouldn't believe in God and I would not be a Christian, I would be an atheist, because I was a Christian for 37 years, an evangelical, charismatic Christian, full on, all the way in. Bible belief.
Well?
I was a preacher, pastor, teacher, believed the Bible, read it through many times, prayed in tongues, everything. And if you'd have told me that that would go away and I would embrace the label atheist, I would have said you were crazy. But you've got what a lot of people don't have, Corey, and that's an open mind and a willingness to say, I was wrong. And you said that earlier about something that you've previously thought, and you said, I was wrong about that. And anytime we can come to the place in life where we can look and say, wait a minute, I thought something and now I think I was wrong, that's the sign of maturity, in my opinion.
Definitely. Definitely. And
good for you, Corey.
One thing that I would love to send out there and ask you to do, if you want some homework, Corey.
Yes.
Keep doing that.
Yes.
When you say, hey, I was wrong. Hey, I learned something. Hey, whatever that case is, that be an exemplar of that. There are so many times, especially, in the church when I was growing up, and I bet Dave can attest the same way, that if you were wrong about something, it was immediately met with ridicule.
Oh yeah, you couldn't be wrong.
You needed to be right, or you needed to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were wrong, it discredited you as a person and people were less likely to talk to you. But that's not how this works.
Mm-mm.
We fuck up. We're humans. And when we mess up, we learn. And if we want to be honest about it, we say, hey, I messed up. I'm going to have the integrity to bring forward what I learned so that I can not make that same mistake again. And if you do that, if you can celebrate that and be an exemplar of that, you can foster that kind of willingness to learn and seek out truth around you.
Yeah.
It helps you, not just in religion, it helps you everywhere.
Good point. Preach, brother.
That said, Corey, it was good talking to you, man.
Thanks for the call, Corey.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care, brother. Good guy.
That was nice.